German Buddhist priest in Japan again. Today I would like to try to record another video. It has been a while since my first video, and I'm sorry for keeping you waiting. And today it's it's already August 4th, and it's Sunday, and we had a very important service today at the temple. We welcomed a new Buddha image to our temple. To be exact, it's not a Buddha image, but it's a sculpture of a Bodhisattva, or in Japanese we say Bosatsu, and it's a Bodhisattva or a Bosatsu. That's someone who has the heart of a Buddha, in that sense that he or she wants to devote their whole life to the well-being of others, and they also have a similar kind of enlightenment to the Buddhas, but those Bodhisattvas or Bosatsu, they decide that they don't want to enter the Buddha realm, so that they can stay in this realm, in this world, and keep supporting the people in this realm. So they refrain from enlightenment and stay in this realm to help more people, and keep doing that until the very last person and living being is liberated from suffering. So this kind of image, religious image of a Bosatsu or a Bodhisattva, is very common here in Japan. You can see it, for example, when you go climb a mountain, there are usually such stone images of a Bodhisattva at the side of the road. And the Japanese people, they to protect them and worship them, they put on red knitted hats, or they make some small offerings to those images, and so they are very popular here in Japan. And we welcomed also one of such Bodhisattva images to our temple courtyard, and we had a very wonderful prayer gathering connected to that, and inspiriting of that image. And actually now it's 4:30 and I'm already on my way home, but there's still right now the afternoon replay of that service in the morning going on, and there will be another video replay in the evening starting from 7 o'clock. And the reason why I'm on my way home already is that, as I said in my first video, for one, at the moment, because my children are still young, they're still 3 and 7 years old, I have an agreement with the temple office that for the time being I'm allowed to keep my hours to 9 to 4. But besides that, on a day like today, when something really special is happening, of course I would like to support the practitioners and my colleagues as much as possible and stay a little longer. But as it happened, my wife, she didn't feel well from last night, and she still doesn't feel well. So I asked my colleagues if I, same as usual, leave the temple at 4 o'clock. So of course they understood my situation. They sent me off. So it was no problem. But yeah, that's kind of the situation. So I'm on my way home now, and I'll see what I can do for my wife so that she will feel better soon, I hope. And yeah, because it's Sunday, my kids, of course, didn't go to kindergarten or gakudo, might be able to relate to the situation that when you have small kids, young kids, then usually one of them brought home some sickness from school or kindergarten, and then when one of them is sick, then the sibling gets sick too, and one of the parents or both parents also get sick, and you just keep handing around the cold or whatever they bring home until all of us had the cold, and then we were fine again. So yeah, that's what it is, and I have to accept it. And yeah, my colleagues there are also doing their best to accept that situation and to cover for me on days like today. So, connected to my private situation today and also to the events at the temple, I thought about maybe I could talk a little bit about what it means to be a Buddhist practitioner, or to practice as a Buddhist practitioner, and what it means to be a Bodhisattva or Bodhisattva in this realm. And maybe I could start with that, of course, in Buddhism you try to get rid of attachments. One of the reasons why people suffer is that they get attached to the outcome of their practice. They think like, oh, I'm doing so much for this or that person, or despite me doing so much for others, why am I not happy? Why don't I get the things that I want? And there are all kinds of attachments, but one attachment is the attachment to the outcome of your actions. And so, yeah, me being both father, husband, but also a temple office staff, a priest at a temple. Of course, I've experienced a struggle between how to balance those two things. And compared to my Japanese colleagues, I don't know, maybe I say it the opposite way. It seems for my Japanese colleagues it's more it's easier to leave their private things up to the Buddha realm. They say, oh, if you just pray hard enough, then everything will be taken care of in your private life. And with this mindset, they just keep serving and at the temple, devote their whole time to the temple life, to the temple, to the service at the temple, and leave the rest up to their spouses or other family members if there's something not going well at home. But I don't know. One thing we learn in Buddhism is that the Buddhas always mystically appear when and where they are needed, and they always start to act when there is a person in need. They realize that, and they manifest in those situations and help as much as they can. And reflecting on that, also I feel that's, as a Bodhisattva or as a Bodhisattva, this is an important mindset for our practice as well, that we see where we are needed the most. Already when my wife was pregnant with our first child, more than like almost 8 years ago, I started having those difficulties to balance my private life and my service at the temple, and one of my colleagues, he realized he recognized me suffering, and he reached out to me. And one of the things that he shared with me is that in moments when you can't do everything the way you want because you just don't have enough time to give 100% to all the responsibilities that you have, then in such moments the best thing you can do is to think about where you are needed the most. What's the one thing that only you can do, that nobody else can do instead of you? And considering that, of course, there's a number of colleagues at the temple who can take over, or who can serve the practitioners even when I'm not there. But if I'm not at home, who else will take care of my wife or kids? So the answer is quite clear that right now, when my children are still young, and being a parent is still pretty challenging for both my wife and myself, that this time it's important for me to see what I can do to do my part as a father, and not leave everything up to the efforts of my wife. So since that time, like 7-8 years ago, I tried to really focus on what is it that only I can do, and then put my utmost effort into that. Yes, that's how I've been practicing for the last 7-8 years. So I think many of you guys, like many people these days, they see a lot of suffering happening in our world, and they try to do what they can to at least lessen that suffering just a little bit, day by day. And I think for people like us, it's really important to, first of all, not getting attached to the results of our practice. Like, despite doing a lot and giving our utmost energy and effort for one thing, I think it's important to remember that there is always a tomorrow. There's always another chance for us to practice and to improve the situation in front of us. If we just keep going, and if you get attached to the outcome, if you only see the current result, and you start asking yourself, what am I doing this for? Why am I keep doing this despite the outcome, the current situation, and the little things, the little improvements that we can achieve with our efforts. If we start getting attached to the current situation, and maybe the things that are not the way that still not yet the way we wish we would like to have them, then it's maybe hard to keep going. You might feel like you want to give up, and if you give up, then the things will never turn the way you would like them to turn. But if you let go of the outcome, let go of your expectations, then you always can keep going, even make little steps forward, little efforts, and eventually you might be able to achieve something that you haven't thought of. So it's really important to let go of expectations and just keep going, and leaving up the results to other forces, higher powers, and just see what you can do as a human being, day by day, making small efforts. also think that a certain flexibility of the heart is very necessary, is very needed if you want to keep practicing. If you kind of decide about this is what I want to do, this is the area that I would like to make an effort for, and then sometimes it's hard to keep responding to your immediate surrounding. If you, for example, if you get attached in this way that you decide already, okay, this is what I will do now, and all the other things I won't be able to take care of, then it's really difficult to keep responding to your immediate surrounding. As I just said earlier, the Buddhas, they always appear when and where they are needed. So if we kind of get fixated on when and where we will practice, then it's maybe difficult for us to realize that at a different time, at a different place, maybe there are also people who need our support, who need us to reach out to them. So always keeping that flexibility in one's heart, not getting attached to the outcomes of your efforts or the place and time where you will practice. I think then you can experience more joy in your practice by just keeping an open heart, and when and wherever you are, see if there's somebody who might need a kind word or a smile, or if there's somebody who maybe might need your energy and time. So in that way it will be much easier to connect to the suffering of people as a whole, and practice instead of the Buddhas as a Bodhisattva. And the more you do so, I think you will also experience more joy of being able to help people get connected to that Buddha realm's supportive energy through your own efforts and you reaching out to those people, being able to support the Buddha realm in that way that the Buddhas will inspire you in what way you can help those people. If you meditate on them, reach out them to the Buddhas in your prayer, they will always guide you and tell you what you can do for this or that person. And by listening to such inspirations from the Buddha realm, you will always be able to make make the lives of those people in front of you or near you a little bit better with every moment of your practice for them. So I have experienced that as a wonderful joy, way of living in the moment and stay connected with the current moment, the current situation, see what I can do. And I think it's a wonderful way of living, and non-attachment helps a lot with this kind of lifestyle if you devote your life to the people around you. So I hope with this perspective on service, I will be able to help a few people who are watching this and also devote their lives to improvement of society in general, or the support of one person that is important for them, important to them. So yeah, I think that's it for today. Thank you very much for your attention and listening, and I hope I'll be able to stay in touch with you guys. Thank you and have a nice day. Bye. after finishing this video, I just remembered one instance when I actually practiced in this way, and it was like maybe 2 weeks ago when I was paying respect to the Buddha images at our main altar temple, at our main altar, and I was on my way home, so I paid respect to them, and while doing so, there was a lady who I know. She often comes and offers her time to create decorative things for the temple, like posters and other decorations. And I was just greeting her, saying hi, and I asked her, as you would always do, like, how are you? Genki desu ka? Are you well? And when she replied, yeah, I'm fine, I could see or feel in her voice that she wasn't really fine. And when you realize that somebody's just saying they're fine, but when they're not, I think you always have a choice between just leaving it at that and not checking further what's the reason for her not being well, or you could, as I did in that moment, you can ask, oh really? Are you really well? And then she opened up and she started telling me about her private situation at the moment, that so far in her life she was never a parent, but right now I think her sister's daughter and that daughter's family, they have moved into that practitioner's house because she has a big house, and they I don't remember all the details, but anyhow, that family moved in with that female practitioner, and they have a son, I think an elementary school student, and that son, he's facing difficulties at school, and she told me about him being afraid of going to school, and she was telling me about how difficult that situation is for, of course, that child's parents, but also for her, who's that, I think, that child's grand aunt. And as they live together, of course, she also feels responsible now to help that family and help that child in whatever way she can. And so I was listening to her story, and I was able to relate to that story, because also I have young children, and so somehow the Buddhas matched us up in that moment by having both of us being there at that temple's main altar at the same time, and reaching out to each other, and Buddhas helped me realizing that that person is in need of help, an open ear, and some advice. So I was very happy that I was able to, not being attached to having to rush out of the temple right away and doing this or that in that moment, but really be able to keep an open heart and mind, and be able to realize that she was in need of such support. And just today I saw her again after 2 weeks, and she smiled at me and when she greeted me, and she said, thank you for, she expressed gratitude for me just being there for her at that moment and listening to her story and talking to her. So I think for me that's having experienced something like this always is a confirmation that the way I'm doing things and the way I'm living in service to others is something that really makes me happy too. And to, or who I can do something for, because that always pulls me down and hinders me from being positive further and further for keeping up the support for others when I when I become negative and depressed regarding how little I can do for certain people, then it doesn't help anyone. So I hope this little story makes my further and my other explanations a little bit more understandable for you guys. So I think that's really the end of the video today. So thanks, and